If you have a startup and you're trying to look for a business line of credit from a credit union, and that credit union has to pull TransUnion exclusively, here is a review I want you to pay attention to. Okay, number 7, we have BlueFed. Our score 8.4 over 10. So when you think about BlueFed, one thing we love about BlueFed is that their customer service is just fantastic. They'll take care of you. They'll work with you. What we love this sort of personalized sort of service that they have there. And the thing is that if you're looking for a business line of credit, one thing you want to do here is that you want to contact BlueFed. Don't try to do things online, okay? You want to contact them and you want to explain to them that you have a startup, that you are trying to get a business line of credit. And the cool thing here is that they have commercial mortgage loans, they have commercial vehicle loans, they have business lines of credit, they have term loans, they have construction loans, they have equipment loans. So you can see that they have a constellation of business loans and business lines of credit for established businesses, but also for startups. By the way, boss, welcome back to the show. I really appreciate having this kind of conversations every now and then. And one thing I want to say about BlueFed is that their customer service is kind of cool, but just make sure that your paperwork is really, really well ready. Like it has to be ready. So you got to have 3 things. I mean, they look at 3 things. They look at a business plan. So if you have a startup, make sure you have a business plan. I'm not talking about any sort of like quasi crappy business plan. I'm talking about a real business plan. BlueFed they're very flexible, but they're very thorough also. So with your business plan, I want you to talk about how you intend on monetizing your business idea. Okay, you have a business idea, and you got to really be clear about how you're going to monetize. You know, what are your sources of revenue or all that kind of stuff. This is really important because the loan officer at BlueFed, they're going to look at that. So that's number 1. Your business plan is really important. Okay. The second thing I want you to pay attention to here is you got to have a projected financial statements. So normally those financial projections should be part of your business plan. But if you don't have them, you can actually have them separately. That's fine too. BlueFed is they're kind of flexible when it comes to that. And what we love about that is that they don't want you to have like 10, because some credit unions, they ask for 10 years or 5 years of projections. BlueFed, they're good with 1 to 3 years. And the third thing you need to have here is your personal tax returns. Okay, those are 3 things you need to have. Number 6, we have here, America's Credit Union. Our score, 8.6 over 10. Boss, if you are looking for a credit union startup business line of credit that pulls TransUnion, ACU, America's Credit Union, is one of the fantastic credit unions that we have out there, okay? We love the fact that they have the same diversity, the same sort of a flexibility that the BlueFed has, but America's Credit Union goes a little bit further. Like they could approve you all the way to $250,000. BlueFed, they actually will stop you at $100,000, which is, you know, when you really think about it, that's still good anyway. I mean, you're a startup, you haven't proven, you know, you don't have a proven track record. So $250,000, that's really good. So when we talk about America's Credit Union, what are we talking about here? We have an institution that is solid, and they do have a business lines of credit for established businesses, but also for startups. Okay, but beyond that, if you don't qualify for their business line of credit, they'll take care of you when it comes to other forms of business funding. By the way, boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic, because I really need to contextualize the conversation we're having here. I'm explaining to you the top 7 credit union startup business lines of credit that pull TransUnion. Okay, so in addition to business lines of credit for startups, you also have America's Credit Union that they actually will approve you for a commercial real estate loan for your startup, a construction loan. They also have term loans. This is really good. And but it's similar to BlueFed. If you want to get a loan right now, or a line of credit for that matter, for your startup, you need to contact ACU. So they don't have like a process online where you can just get your loan or line of credit online. You have to contact them. The number here is a 253-591-6881. Okay, 253-591-6881. When you call that number, they'll basically they'll connect you with they call their business office, their loan officers, they call them business account representative. Okay, but the thing is, if you don't want to call them, you can also send them you can fill out a form on their website, where you just provide basic details about your business, about the founders of the startup team, the main founders of the company, and they'll take care of you. Number 5, we have here Lake Michigan. Our score 8.8 over 10. So when we talk about Lake Michigan, we're talking about a great institution. The only problem we have with Lake Michigan is that they are geographically limited. So when you have this geo restriction, this could be a problem unless you actually happen to, your startup or yourself happen to live, or your business is going to operate in the geography that Lake Michigan covers, okay? And so when we talk about business line of credit, we are talking about flexibility. We are speaking about, we're talking about the generosity. Okay, Lake Michigan can be LMCU. That's the shortcut of it, of that name. I mean, they could be very, very generous. Okay, they can go all the way to. We have seen it in our own sort of business meetings. We have accompanied clients, business clients, who are approved by Lake Michigan when it comes to business line of credit, all the way to $1 million. But those are for established businesses, though, not for startups. But still, the potential is there. You have a lender who is very open. They'll look at your file. They'll look at your whole package, though, your whole application package for your startup business line of credit, and they will work with you depending on the particulars of your file. Okay, and you can actually fill out a form on the internet. But we actually advise our clients and you, our dear viewers, to actually contact them. You want to start the conversation by contacting them over the phone. So you actually want to call right now, 833-916-0762. And you can talk to a commercial lender, so they'll work with you. And the cool thing here is that you can actually use a startup business line of credit for a constellation of things. I mean, they approve lines of credit for startups when it comes to inventory management, equipment, and other assets. Okay, now you can also get other types of loans. You can get like term loans, you can get equipment loans, and this business line of credit that I'm talking about, it's generally unsecured. In other words, you don't have to pledge collateral to actually get the line of credit. But if your startup has, let's say, assets that you would like to pledge, this is fine too. This will accelerate the approval process. Number 4, we have here Teachers FCU. Our score 9 over 10. When we talk about the top 5 or top 7 startup business line of credit that pull TransUnion from all of, like the credit unions that pull TransUnion, Teachers is a great institution. We love Teachers. We love Teachers for their flexibility. We love Teachers for their excellent customer service. Okay, you have an institution that has been kicking ass for the last 10 to 20 years. Okay, they've been revamping their processes, their underwriting processes for business loans and business line of credit, and so they were really doing a lot of good things. And the cool thing is that their startup business line of credit, actually, the maximum is $250,000, which is great anyway, because if you're a startup, I keep saying this, you don't need a lot of cash to start. You got to really take a little bit of cash, prove yourself that you can manage that little cash before asking for more, right? So when you think about Teachers, they have this fee. This is something we don't like, but I'll say it anyway. So they actually charge you, like they charge you a $500 packaging fee on term loans and lines of credit that are above $100,000. I mean, they got to make a living, so it is what it is. But the good thing here is that you can actually use a business line of credit from Teachers to do a lot of things. So they don't restrict the usage of it. Like there are some institutions, some banks, some credit unions, they actually will make the funds available to you with certain restrictions. Okay, they'll tell you, for instance, you can't use it for certain things. You can't use it like trying to all kinds of complications, but Teachers does not do that. Okay, that's what we love a lot. So you have the cash, you can do a lot of stuff you want with it, and Teachers can be geo restricted also. Even though we have found in our business operations that they could be very flexible depending on your geography, but it really boils down to the industry you're in. Okay, but if you want to kick off your business line of credit application from Teachers, you want to call right now. You want to call 1-631-698 7000, extension 1687. The number once again is 1-631-698-7000, extension 1687. Or you want to email business@teachersfcu.org. We'll put everything on the screen. Number 3, we have BECU. Our score, 9.1 over 10. So BECU stands for Boeing Employees Credit Union, another fantastic institution that we love a lot. And what we love the fact that they are really flexible also, but on top of that, they will actually assign, let's say, an advisor to you, and that advisor will help you, will sort of tailor a business line of credit that is bespoke to your credit union, and not credit union, to your startup. The only problem that we have, it's not a problem really, but it's a limitation. So BECU is geo restricted, unless you live, you live in a state where they don't cover. But if you have an affiliation with Boeing, the company, then you're fine too. Okay, that's not a problem. Now, when it comes to their line of credit, they actually they'll cap you at $100,000, which is great anyway. Okay, and so if you want $2,500 to $10,000, your APR will be around 10.25%. And if you want $10,000 to $100,000, your APR will be 9.85%. What we love about those BECU's products is that those products are unsecured, so you don't have to pledge anything. You can actually leave your company's your startup assets safely, and you can use those assets for other transactions, other collateralized transactions. Okay. One thing I want to say, and I really need to say this, and that's what we love about BECU. There is no origination fee. They're not trying to play games with you like some other institution. They're charging you here, charging you there, charging you whatever, But the BECU does not. They don't do this. Okay. And but you want to actually contact them too. Actually, you can download the application. They have an application on the internet, on their website. You can actually download that application and then just take it from there. The cool thing we love about BECU is that they are very fast. They're very responsive. Like we have seen people getting approved within the same day, which is really, really fast when you think about a business line of credit. When you think about a startup, rather. Not what am I talking about? When you think about a credit union. So the process, the approval process is really fast when you think about BECU as being a credit union, because banks as well as credit unions are, sometimes, they could be slow. Let's just put it that way. And I'm being very polite here. You could probably get approved for a business line of credit within 1 or 2 weeks, but with BECU, even 1 or 2 days, that's possible. Number 2, we have here Consumers Credit Union. Our score, 9.5 over 10. Boss, I'm still having a quick conversation with you about credit union startup business lines of credit that pull TransUnion. Okay, what we love about CCU is that CCU is one of the best credit unions in the country by far. Okay, and what we love about their business lines of credit is that they are flexible. The only problem is they want you to collateralize the line of credit. So basically, they don't provide unsecured lines of credit. They provide only secure line of credit. But if you do have the right assets, the approval process can be as little as 4 hours. 4 hours, boss. So what I'm trying to say here is, if you have a startup right now, what I want you to do is maybe go back to your balance sheet, to your company, to your startup's balance sheet, and see if you have some assets that are free and clear of any sort of collateral or any sort of lien. Okay, so you can basically collateralize those. You can use those assets as collateral for this business line of credit. One thing I want to say here is that when you actually get through, when you go to CCU, the only thing they will ask you is, do you have a business plan? They always add that. They always ask that. Boss, you got to have a business plan. You got to have financial projections, similar to what I said about BlueFed. You got to have that, and on top of that, you got to have your personal tax returns also. Okay, not just your personal tax returns, but the returns of all the founders of the startups. So you got to have this part, and also make sure that your credit has to be decent though, because if we're talking about a secure line of credit, then your credit and your credit worthiness, for that matter, are not really relevant anymore because the transaction is collateralized anyway, right? So the risk is lower. However, CCU still wants to make sure they're dealing with very people who are responsible, who are financially responsible. So make sure. So CCU, if you want them, make sure that you want to collateralize the line of credit. They also offer investment. They also offer equipment financing, so you can actually use a loan from them to actually invest in your machinery and whatnot. Number one, the best of the best, the best of the best. Navy Fed. Our score, 9.8 over 10. So if you are looking for a credit union, startup, business line of credit, the full TransUnion, Navy Federal is your best bet. If you can't get in, I mean, because basically you need to, I mean, all credit unions, you gotta really meet the eligibility requirements for membership. And credit unions are kind of like, they can be geographically restricted. They can be demographically or professionally restricted or biologically, whatever it is. So when we talk about Navy Federal, we love the flexibility. Navy Federal is very flexible. They're very they can be very, very generous in terms of the line of credit for startup businesses. We have seen folks who got approved for a business line of credit up to $5 million. The funny thing is when we say when we actually, when we give those numbers, a lot of folks are like, yeah, no, this is impossible, whatever. I've never heard that. Yeah, you have never heard that. Okay, where you are at right now in your situation, you've never heard that. But it is totally possible. In this country, every single day, there are folks who are getting approved for loan amounts that are really, really large, like astronomically large, okay? It's all about how you position yourself, and it's all about the knowledge that you have acquired and how you are able to parlay that knowledge into getting a large transaction, okay? So when we talk about Navy Federal, similar to CCU, they also want you to collateralize the transaction. So if you are looking for a business line of credit for your startup or established business for that matter, you need to collateralize this transaction. So you need to actually pledge collateral. You need to pledge an asset, okay? But you can use the cash for a lot of things. You can use the cash for operational purposes, okay? Inventory here, making payroll there, expand and whatnot. But with Navy Fed, line amounts start at $35,000, okay? And but that's kind of cool. And so you can use the cash for a lot of things. Navy Fed has their approval process is a little lengthier than others. They ask for a lot of people. They'll ask for a lot of things. Navy Fed asks for a lot of paperwork. They ask you for financial statements. Like if you have a startup, you need to have projected financial statements. They ask for personal tax returns. They ask for business tax returns if available. They ask for a business plan. They ask for a personal guarantee. They ask for a proof. They ask for a proof of collateral. So they ask for a lot of things. Okay. On top of that, so just be ready. If you're going for a startup business line of credit with Navy Fed, just make sure that you have all the paperwork ready. In addition to a normal business line of credit, you can also apply for a checking line of credit. Here, the amounts are a little smaller. You are speaking about $500, $1,000, or $5,000. Okay, but those are easier to be approved for, by the way. So yeah, it is what it is. All right, here you have it. Just the top 7 credit union startup business line of credit that pull TransUnion. Before I actually do a recap here, just look on the screen. I want to share with you quickly our loan evaluation approach. We do have a system in place where we actually we use a specific method to categorize, to highlight, and to actually evaluate all the lines of credit, business line of credit, business loans that we actually get from credit unions. So just look right now. All right, let's just do a quick recap here. The top 7 business line of credit that pull TransUnion that are provided by credit unions. Number 1, Navy Fed, 9.8 over 10. Number 2, we have CCU, Consumers Credit Union, our score, 9.5 over 10. Number 3, we have BECU, 9.1 over 10. Number 4, we have a Teachers FCU, 9 over 10. Number 5, we have Lake Michigan, 8.8 over 10. Number 6, we have America's Credit Union, 8.6 over 10. Number 7, we have BlueFed, 8.4 over 10. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. God bless you. I'll see you next time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.